Ronnie, give me a thumbs up when we're good. No rush. Okay, up and running. Thank you, everybody, for staying in here. I'm John Lyons, and I'm here with Ronnie Newton. Welcome to the WeHa.com Roundtable. Ronnie Newton, the managing editor of WeHa.com. We're being broadcast live on WHCI TV Channel 5, the WeHa.com Facebook page, Connecticut News Junkie, and I don't know how many other outlets are carrying us, but I know we've got a bunch, which is one of the reasons why setup took so long this morning or this afternoon. Today we have a very important guest who lives in Ukraine. She is there now in the town of Kryvyi Rih. Inga Viznechia lives and works there and has been witness to the threats made and subsequent invasion of her country by Russia. Her town is in the southeastern part of the country, which we're going to show you on the map here in a minute. And she is at her home now talking to us to give us a firsthand account of what is happening. She's also provided us some images of what is happening there, which we will show and discuss later in the program. So let's get started. Inga, welcome to the program.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for inviting me.
Well, thank you for coming on. So just a little background. So the program, Ronnie and I started this program when COVID hit. So there was nothing being done live. Everything was being done virtually. So we purchased an app called BeLive, which allows us to do broadcast quality from our homes without having to be in studio. And ironically, we met Inga because she was our support rep with BeLive. So she has helped bring quality programming, what I hope is quality program, to the community of West Hartford now for 2 years. So we are grateful for that. And that's how we met her. And as a result, through this, we were friends on Facebook. And obviously, when the invasion happened, she was posting about it, and I thought it would make for a very compelling guest. So welcome to the show. Inga, let's start. I really want to hear kind of what you're experiencing. And we certainly can talk to you a little bit about what we're hearing over here. But you know, as the Russians, let's go back 2.5, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, the Russians were building up on the border of Ukraine. What were you hearing? What were you seeing? What was going through your mind as this happened?
Yeah, so we heard about it for quite a long time, and my family didn't plan to leave, like my family, my immediate family. But me personally, with my husband, we were considering different options, but we couldn't imagine that it will happen. Some of my friends, my colleagues, they fled Ukraine, so they moved to different countries, but we didn't do it, probably because we couldn't believe to the last minute that it will happen.
Well, it's and I think that's a good time to show you. I want to show everybody where you live. Now you're still live, but I'm just taking the cameras off so you can see. This is the country of Ukraine, and that red dot. I don't want to get too close, but that red dot is where she lives. So you can see she's fairly far south and a little bit on the eastern end of the country. So just to give people a little bit of a perspective of where she's talking to us from, and we are not revealing some things to protect her. So just to make that clear as well. So I think you've expressed the opinion and the emotions of a lot of people here as well, just utter shock that Russia would go ahead and do this. And, you know, we kept getting the news reports of them building up the border. And I don't speak for Ronnie, but I, for one, they're not stupid enough to do this, is what went through my mind. They can't be crazy enough to do this. There's just so much world opposition to it. So now you posted a pretty the morning of the invasion, you posted a pretty powerful post on your Facebook page. I'm not going to bring that up here, but I'm not going to show it here, but I'm going to ask you to talk about, what happened. Where were you when it happened? Were you where you are now? Were you home?
Yeah, I was in my bed in Kiev. I was sleeping, and my friend, she called me. She actually used to work for BeLife as well. She called me and she told me that the war has started. So I woke up and I couldn't understand what does it mean, the war has started. So is it I'm being killed now? Can I look at the window? What should I do? What does it mean? How does the war is starting? So I was
What
just
was that
crying.
actual moment? Was it the first bomb or what?
Yeah,
what
yeah.
actually? Yeah.
What happened? So in Kiev, people woke up because of the explosions. Something was exploding. There were some bombs, and people were expecting that something bad is happening. Then they checked the news, and they understood what is happening. They started to call their families and friends to let them know because other people were sleeping in the bed in our pajamas, not ready.
So I just want to make sure I understood, though. You were in Kiev when this happened. Kiev.
Yeah, yeah. I live in Kiev normally.
Okay. All right. So you're down in your town now, the town you're in now, to escape, to be safe.
Yeah, because when we were leaving Kiev, it sounded like the Kiev is the main target, as it's the capital. At the same time, of course, it's probably the most protected city in Ukraine. But the entire family of me and my husband is living here in Kryvyi, so I couldn't have any other decision than to be here with my family and his family.
And roughly how far are you from Kiev?
It's around 500 kilometers.
Okay. Okay. So that's about 300 miles for those who don't know the metric system. We're in America, unfortunately. So
I couldn't translate it. Sorry.
Ronnie, you look like you had a question.
No, I was just smiling because as a runner running 5Ks, I know it's 3.1 miles. So that for that reason, I can do the math to translate kilometers into miles.
So, this is a tough question, but what did you personally see in Kiev, and what did you see as how did you make your way down to where you are now? You drove? Did you take the train?
No. So the first 2 days we were staying in Kiev. So when we went to the street, it took us around 4 hours because we were afraid to go out to the street. You don't know what is happening. What does it mean? Are they everywhere or where they are? I live in the Kiev city center, so I'm just in front of the Red Cross, and I didn't know what they were doing before the war started. And that day when the war started, I saw them starting to pack to bring their cars, the Red Cross cars. So something was going on. There are several embassies on the street where I live in Kiev. So people were moving, but it was really scary because you can see people who are packing their cars, loading them with everything they had, with their fishes, like the small fish that you take into your home, and some animals. Everything that they could have, they're packing it in the car, and they're planning to leave. That's the thing that I saw, nothing else in that day.
What do you know what the disposition of your home is right now?
Sorry?
Do you know is your home okay? Is your home safe now? Do you know if it's okay?
Yeah, like we don't have any Russian troops next to our home and to our city, hopefully. So we have a lot of things that are protecting our city done by just civilians. So yeah, we're kind of protected, but I don't know for how long it can last.
But what about your place in Kiev? Is that what's the condition of that now? Do you have any idea?
I have a device for video monitoring, video doorbell. So I'm monitoring my property, and it's fine. because it's it's in just in the city center. So
Mhm.
I hope it will stay there.
Now, do you still talk to your friends? Do you have relatives in Kiev?
Yeah, as I was living there for very for around 8 years. So I have all my friends there, and we are talking. A lot of them stayed; they couldn't leave. It's very hard to leave the city now when you're male. So because the trains they're taking only females, children, and people with disabilities. So if you're a male of my age, you can't leave. It's very hard if you don't own a car or whatever.
And we've heard that some of the rail lines west have been destroyed.
Yeah, so the trains are taking a different route to bring people to the west.
We have a great question
Mm-hmm.
from Kellen Malone. How can people convince Russian people of what is happening and that their government is not allowing access to information? Are you able to communicate into Russia at all? Do you know people in Russia?
Yeah, of course we do. Our parents, they have their friends there because they were living in the Soviet Union. We also made some connections with people from other countries, Russia as well. But there are very different situations and very hard situations when a son is calling his father in Russia and telling that the war has started, and the father doesn't believe him. He doesn't believe his own son. He believes what he sees on television.
Wow.
That's very difficult. I don't know. It's very hard to find the words to convince when people were watching Russian propaganda for decades. It's not the first day that they were watching the television. They were watching it for. I don't think I have the superpower. I don't think anyone has. But
Right.
we're trying our best just to tell the truth that it's a war. It's not a local conflict, a small one. It's a real war, and it's difficult.
Are there Russian people in Ukraine that you know, and what are they saying? What are they feeling?
They are on our side. There are also Ukrainian people in Russia who doesn't believe that their country was invaded. So Russian people who were experiencing it, who were waking up because of the explosions, they have no doubt. They don't say that it's Ukrainians who are killing other Ukrainians to for what I don't know. Putin say so, but who cares?
We hear stories, and I'm trying to not get political with you because this is
Mm-hmm.
not a political conversation. I'm really trying to make it experiential. But we hear stories of, they use the term separatists. I don't know if you know what that means, but Russian fighters having been in Ukraine for years. Has Ukraine generally been a very safe place for the last 10 your adult lifetime?
What do you mean for safe road to live?
Is it, well, when in the U.S., when we hear about separatists
Mm-hmm.
or guerrillas or words like that, we think, I don't know, Ronnie, help me out. Am I overstepping saying terrorism? Am I overstaying? I don't want to overstate. I'm not trying to create drama here, but I guess let me just ask generally: has Ukraine traditionally been a very safe country? You feel comfortable at night riding the subway. You feel comfortable walking around, and
Yeah.
you don't feel like something bad could happen.
Yeah, in general, it's safe country. We do have some issues like other countries. I had my stuff stolen in Barcelona, in Spain, and in Ukraine as well, and in other countries as well. I feel equally safe in European countries.
And was it fairly open? Could you travel between countries, until recently,
Yeah, it's
especially to
yeah,
Western countries where where do
yeah.
people usually, yeah.
We don't need any visa to travel to Europe, so we can stay in Europe up to 3 months, and we have low cost flights that cost around $10 to fly to Germany. So a lot of people of my generation and older generation, they used to travel to Europe. I had my trips planned, and now I don't know, not today.
And we did get a comment from Suzanne Sayers, and Suzanne, I completely agree. However, our guest Inga, it behooves her to stay out of the politics of it for her safety, and that's really what I mean when I say this is not political. I think if we had an election here in town in West Hartford, I think it'd be about 100% against Putin. So please don't think I'm minimizing. I just don't feel that we're putting you in a political position with this interview. So our apologies if it sounds insensitive, but it's
no, it's okay. I just didn't want to bring you guys in our politics, but there is no politics anymore. It's a war. I don't know what does politics mean. It's a war. We have people who invaded our country. It doesn't matter, are they Russians or they from Belarus? They invaded our country.
Yep. So, so talk to us about where you're at, and then what you're hearing from your friends in Kiev. You know, do you have ample food? Do you have ample water? Do you have your basic? I mean, you have internet, which is great. Obviously, that's vital at this point. But food, water, and electricity are also vital. You're in the middle of your winter there. What's happening there with basic necessities?
Like in Kiev, it's okay for now. So we do have all the supplies. We have food. We have water. The same as in my hometown. But there are areas that are staying without water for days. Today we got a report that a child died because of lack of water, dehydration, and it doesn't make. I can't put it somewhere in my head because all the world is talking about stay hydrated, and the child in 2022 is dying because they couldn't get enough water, and it's horrible. Of course, it's not in every city, but do we need it to be in every city?
It should be everywhere. So, I mean, the basic, and that's one of the things that's so horrible about this war is the attackers. Russia doesn't seem to care about. They're not making any sort of delineation between other fighters and just innocent citizens, and that's what makes it so appalling here.
Yeah, but in general, it's. I mean, in some cities that weren't attacked that drastically, it's okay. We have all that we need. Of course, we are running out of some stuff that could be brought from Europe or from other cities. But I can't complain at the moment as a Ukrainian. I'm fine.
When the war started, or even right before, was there an initial rush for people to kind of try to hoard things that they were afraid might end up in short supply? Like when the pandemic started here, we had a huge toilet paper shortage. Were there things like that happened?
Not before the war started, because the majority couldn't believe it will happen. They couldn't, and of course, some people they are storing items, and but we couldn't experience it in the supermarket because we saw everything being in stock. But just the first day of war, yes, all the supermarkets they went empty.
Go ahead, Ronnie.
No, I was going to say, do you have enough food now? Like, can you go out and go to the grocery store? And
we can. It's okay now. We can. Thank you. It's fine.
It's just scary because you think about supply chains, and obviously in a wartime environment, that's a major concern. Losing access to food and other vitals. Do you have Inga? Do you have relatives who are fighting, who are in the army, the military there?
Not my relatives, but my colleagues from work. So one day we were chatting about work stuff, and the next day they went to the military, to the army.
Have you heard from them?
Yeah. We have internet now. It's great. I like internet so much these days. They're okay. We do have some, it's the same feeling as we had with COVID when it started, because first you don't get COVID, but you know about a friend of a friend of a friend who had COVID. And now it's the same, because you're alive, but you know about a friend of a friend who is not alive anymore.
Do you have, and I'm going to dovetail into a question we've just been asked here, do you have friends and relatives who have left the country? I think you alluded to it earlier. And have you heard from them what they experienced getting over to Poland or to another country for safety?
Yeah, my own aunt, she went to Poland, and it's a very hard decision for her because she had to leave her family here, her daughter, her mother, and she had to flee to earn some money and to make sure that they can flee after her. And it's very hard because you don't know if you come back. It's not traveling. It's not even study abroad. It's you don't know if your home will stay.
Yeah, that's a horrifying thought. Access to money if you need. Now, your currency over there, you're not on the ruble,
No, never.
thankfully. But do the banks, if you need to get money, that sort of thing, are you able to get access money?
Yeah, we do have everything is working. Even customer service for the banks is working, so it's fine. And our currency doesn't experience the same situation as ruble does, and it's great news. I believe that it is indication that the world stays with us, so people are not going crazy and taking their investment from Ukraine.
Oh, the world is absolutely supportive, and I'm even wearing the Ukraine colors today, purposely for
And then
show solidarity. And
when we loaded the show, I found a Ukraine flag. I was very happy, but it was on the Be Live system, so I said, "Oh, we got to grab that." That's why for the first minute and a half, people looked at the flag, which I thought was great. What do? You feel hopeless. You want anything you can do. You want to help. So this is a tricky question, and I want to couch it. Here in the U.S. now, Ronnie and I are of the age, you are not, of where we grew up through the Cold War, and our parents grew up World War II, and then through Kennedy, the Bay of Pigs invasion, if you're familiar with that, where the threat of nuclear war was incredibly high. I personally, in my lifetime, have not been as fearful of the potential of nuclear war as I am now. And I grew up in the 80s, which were some pretty scary times, a lot of saber rattling between Khrushchev and Reagan. Do I have that right? Reagan. Anyway, but a lot of saber rattling during the time. And so what are you hearing and what are you feeling about the when I say the West's reaction? NATO, are you familiar with the NATO countries? Poland, the rest of Europe, in terms of how they're reacting and how they're assisting?
It's a difficult question because we're asking to close the sky, just to close the sky. We are not asking to be a part of NATO now or whatever, just to close the sky. And it takes them ages when they are taking their coffee breaks to decide. People are dying here, but at the same time, citizens of Poland, doesn't matter about the government, they're helping us. Our people who left Ukraine because of the war, they're not staying in some shelters in Poland. They're being hosted by Polish people because Polish people, they were coming to the border, to all the train stations. They were taking us. They were taking our people to their homes without any guidance. No one told them what to do. They were just there. They couldn't do it in any other way.
It is very scary, and yeah, there's been a lot of talk of closing the airspace over Ukraine, and the fear is, at least if I'm interpreting the news reports right, and I'm no expert either, but is that Putin will take this to another level militarily, which is a level that we've never seen.
Well, I think the issue is that if you close off the airspace, if it then gets violated, then what do you do to enforce that, and
Right.
how will that escalate the situation to something that's even scarier? Basically, what I studied political science during the Cold War, and it would be, we looked at things called zero-sum games and mutual assured destruction. Once you start an actual war that has the potential of becoming a nuclear war, everybody loses.
Yeah.
And that's the fear of bringing it to that level where the only way to enforce it is through some sort of retaliation.
It's
I just want to add that it's an actual war. I don't know what should be the scale of war where we start to protect the sky, but let's take it out.
well, I do, and we're gonna show some of the images you sent, but I don't think there's any word to describe you and the people of Ukraine as other than heroic. The experts here 3 weeks ago were saying the war would be over in 2 days, 3 days max. That they talked about how the Russian troops could advance roughly per day, and we're seeing anything but that. Folks are making very nice comments. Ronnie, you want to read this one from Marilla?
Yeah, this is from Marilla. I'm not even going to try to pronounce her last name correctly, but she's the owner of a music studio that teaches music to children, and also a member of the West Hartford Symphony Orchestra. And she says, "I would like you to know that the West Hartford community is well organized in gathering donations to be sent to help the Ukrainian residents and refugees. Our community orchestra is playing the Ukrainian anthem in the beginning of rehearsals in solidarity with you and with the entire country. We are one voice."
And then
Thank
somebody
you.
else is checking in just to make sure your husband is safe, which
Yeah,
you can
he's
confirm.
by now.
And it's a new husband. They've been married under a month, so I will reveal that. We're not going to get too personal, but they were scheduled married 2/22/22, and they had to move the date up 10 days because of the threat. Do I have that right? You got married on February 12th?
Yeah, you're right.
So anyway, so we're looking forward to a long, happy, and healthy marriage with the two of you. I'm going to bring up the images now, Inga, and I'm going to ask you to kind of talk us through them and tell us a little bit about these pictures. Are all, we either have copyright permission to use them. I want to say that one of the reasons why I held us off the end to the end is because sometimes Facebook doesn't get their copyright algorithms correct, but we do have permission to use these pictures. So we're going to bring them up. And we're going to bring us back down, but our mics are still on. So,
Yeah, it's a picture from outskirts of Kiev, the city of Irpin. So those people, they were staying in the shelters for more than a week, and the Russians, they didn't let them evacuate. So they're just civilians with their dogs, with their cats, with their relatives, with people with disabilities, and the Russians didn't gave them the green corridor, so-called, so they can safely evacuate. Because when someone was trying to evacuate, they were killing them in their cars, just civilians, normal people like me. And then that day, some of the people, they managed to evacuate to other parts of the country or abroad, and taking their pets, of course, when they can.
it's incredible. It looks like whatever they could put on their back to carry.
Yeah, the same. This city, the bridges were how it's called, blown because if this bridge wasn't blown, the Russians could invade the capital. But we blow this bridge so they can't. And people were crossing the river in March. It's cold here in Ukraine, and all people were crossing it. So they were leaving their homes. Probably they don't have any home at all now. They were evacuating.
And this is Western Kiev?
Yeah, it's from the western part of Kiev, closer northwest. Yeah.
Okay.
This one is from my friend's hometown.
I'm gonna blow this one up. I'm sorry, that was a terrible choice of words. I'm gonna make this one larger so people can see, because that looks like an unexploded munition.
Yeah,
on that tree.
Yeah, it's the one, and she was mentioning that it's her school, and it's so close to her school. And this is the city of Mariupol. It's southeast of Ukraine. In 2014, Russians couldn't take it, so probably now they're trying all their best, all they know about being devils.
And
So they're doing, yeah.
Sorry about that. That's the school. That's the school in the background.
Yeah, it's a school. When I was sending this image, they didn't bomb the maternity hospital, but today they did.
Oh.
So, I just didn't want to send it, so other people will see this horrible.
Yeah, yeah. I couldn't even get the perspective on this one, Inga. I didn't know if this was sideways but I just left the words at the bottom.
Yeah, this one is also from residential housing. So there are several flats here, and this is a way that people are entering the building. So it's a hallway and doesn't exist anymore.
So it was bombed, and this is someone's apartment here?
Yeah, it's several apartments in this block, just apartments of people who live there.
And this is also Kiev.
And no, it's from Mariupol. It's the city that is getting hit really hard now.
Oh, awful. This next one is it looks like somebody trying to make the best out of a very bad situation.
Yeah, because they don't have electricity, they don't have heating. Water is very limited. They are cooking it next to their buildings because they can't reside in those buildings as they are destroyed.
Oh, awful. Now this was the one I was going to bring up. Your president. Talk to us a little bit about him.
Yeah, okay. Some small things that I want to mention. I didn't vote for him, and a lot of my friends, they didn't do it. Although he's very appealing to the audience, like me as a young person, But now we are totally fine with him, and we're very proud of him. He's the biggest hero of our country at the moment. We didn't expect him to be that great, and I'm proud to have a president like him. I don't believe that I can say that I'm proud of having any president, but it's the first time in my life I'm proud of a president of my country.
Well, leadership matters. Ronnie, what are they saying about him over here?
Well, I think he's a hero, definitely, to a lot of people in the United States. He's just being seen as a great leader who is just so brave. And I mean, a lot of the things I can't even repeat, but just the strength that he's showing, I can't repeat them because they are just inappropriate for this audience. But he is in high regard among most people that I know in the United States, certainly.
Yeah, he's a tough guy. And he's from the same town as I am, so he's from Kryvyi as well. I feel protected here just because I know he's from here.
Well, he's been a superhero and very, very Winston Churchill-esque. He's really acted like the brave statesman, and we've been really impressed by him. This is the picture that a lot of people have seen. We do have permission to use this picture. Inga, I'll let you talk about this.
Yeah, there is one of many great things that Polish people did to Ukrainians. Even this one, you can see that some people, they left baby strollers just for the women who will arrive with their kids, because they were without any strollers. You don't take it into the very crowded train, and that's just very touching. The Polish people are looking like heroes in this as well. Yeah, they're heroes as well.
Yeah, pretty incredible. So I do want to talk a little bit. Let me drop that. Make sure I do this properly. There we go. I do want to talk a little bit about what's going on here in town. Now, first of all, if you would like to donate, UNICEF is handling a lot of relief there, and it's unicefusa.org. If you look in the crawler, it is in there. But unicefusa.org, please make a donation. There may be a time where you may be asked to open your home to a refugee from somebody who has to leave the country, and you're hearing talk about how these people who are leaving now, they have no idea if they're ever going to be able to go back with what's happening. So just a couple of things to think about, and then finally on Sunday afternoon at 4:00, the town is planning a vigil at Town Hall. and we'll get more information out on this as we get it from the mayor's office. But there is going to be a vigil, I believe, from 4 until 5, Ronnie. Have you seen the talking point?
All I know is that it starts at 4, and,
Okay.
and I assume it probably will be, an hour or so. I think it's supposed to be pretty cold on Sunday.
Yeah, windy.
But definitely,
Yeah.
I'm sure people will definitely want to come out. And the town of West Hartford is also flying the Ukrainian flag on a flagpole in front of our town hall, just showing our solidarity. It's been there since last week, since about a week ago. And, I think people are really anxious to do whatever they can to try to help. I think, we feel a little bit helpless because we don't really know how effectively we can help, because, you want to send things, but you want to make sure they're going to the people who need them. The Ukrainian home in Hartford has received an overwhelming supply of donations. And what they really need now is donations of money to help transport everything, because they've got a warehouse full of diapers and non-perishable foods and clothes and blankets, but it's very expensive to try to get it even to Europe, and hopefully it will go to the people who actually need it.
Yeah, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Even every message on Facebook, it's very supportive. Because when something like that happens, you feel that you're all alone and someone wants to kill you. And when then in a few hours you see that the entire world is supporting you, you understand that you have the truth on your side and that you matter. So it's very important, everything that you're doing with the donations and even with some Facebook messages.
How do you and your family go on? When you wake up in the morning, do you do your job? Can you still do your job, or what do you think?
Yeah, so it was very hard to do anything for 1 week, like job related. Today was the first day when I was able to work kind of full time, because before it we were only watching the news all the time. We were afraid that something will happen to us. Also, there are some air raids when the siren is going on, so you need to hide yourself. It means that they can attack you from the sky. So it's all the day you're running to either the shelter or hiding in your house, or you're doing something. Yeah, we also volunteer. We are supporting our territorial defense, and there is a huge line to get to the territorial defense because a lot of people want to support their land.
I lost the last sentence. You said tutorial?
Territorial defense.
Territorial,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Okay.
It's not the army, just the defense that people are doing by themselves. So they take some weapons, some ammunition, and they're watching what is happening if someone is coming close to the city.
Okay. All right. And somebody, we kind of touched on this earlier, Inga, but I really want to be sensitive to the folks that are commenting. We're getting a lot of comments. Somebody asked, how are people earning a living if work has been interrupted? Now, you're fortunate not been interrupted, but you must know people who have had serious disruptions to their work.
It's crazy. The shop is not working, so they don't have any income, so they can't pay their salaries.
Yeah.
So at some point, people start to opening their shops, some other services, because you need to support the economy as well. And it's happening like today, tomorrow. People just start in the safe areas. Of course, I'm not talking about the areas where you can't get the water. You're not working, you can drink.
Yeah. Well, Ronnie, if you don't have any more questions, I'm going to wrap up actually with a comment that somebody made. Any more questions for Inga?
I have a ton of questions. I could talk all day, but nothing that I'd
Inga, look,
you again.
Yeah, we hope you're able to stay in touch. We hope we can stay in touch with you. We would like to have you on again and get updates and maybe even a victorious update at some point in the future, because you guys are sure doing a hell of a job of standing up to a pretty bad bully. I've got nothing but admiration for you, and God forbid if you ever end up here, you've got friends here who are here for you. So please know that. Tammy said, and I think she speaks for all of us. I'm in awe of the positivity, strength, and perseverance of the Ukrainian people. We all can learn a lot from them, and we're grateful for their strong leaders. So lots of thoughts coming from the folks here, and please stay in touch. And thank you so much for being on.
Thank you so much for having me and taking care and caring for the country that is miles away from you. That means a lot.
So anyway, for Ronnie Newton and Inga, thank you for being on. I'm John Lyons, and we will see you in the next show.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.